we have, let me just make sure I got this pulled up correctly. Here we go. We have the state of JavaScript, the survey. This happens what, once a year, I think? Maybe twice a year? Why do I feel like it happened twice this year? I don't remember. Anyways, so we have the state of JavaScript. All right. Is it once a year? Thank you, Shreyas. I believe it. And just so you know, I'm being somewhat hyperbolic here. Okay. So I'm ranting because it is fun to rant. Although there is a kernel of truth in what I'm saying. So essentially it's exactly what you would expect it to be. It asks a bunch of questions about how users of JavaScript feel about JavaScript. So you've got libraries with sentiment, used it, heard of it, never heard of it, will use it again, etc., etc. So as an example, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. 43% of respondents answered used it and had a positive sentiment for React. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff that the survey goes over. Great. And you can see that, let's just take a look at this even. The sentiment for React, 43%, okay. Used it and had a positive sentiment, okay. How about Vite? Used it and had a positive sentiment, 51%. That's even bigger than React if you think about it. Now, this might depend on respondents, although respondents seem to be about the same. So, great. It seems like people have good choices, I guess, in the JavaScript ecosystem, right? So you go through this, and let's say other tools. Let's go over here, and libraries being regularly used. Lodash, 43% of respondents said that, right? 3JS for graphics and animations. That's a no-brainer. Backend frameworks. Express, whopping 68%, right? JavaScript runtimes. Node, browser at 83%, and then Bun comes in way lower, right? JavaScript Edge serverless. So you've got AWS Lambda as the biggest thing, and then Vercel next. Theo mentioned. Python, PHP, Java as non-JavaScript languages. Python being the biggest one. PHP the next one, right? Let's just have a quick look. C, C++ is at 10%. Bash is double the usage of C, C++. Only Go is right next there. Rust, I would have pictured Rust having more usage than Go, but apparently not. We've got Kotlin, Ruby, Swift, Elixir, Objective-C, how about AI? ChatGPT, 67%. Copilot, 50%, right? How about hosting services, AWS? So when you look at, let's say here, when you look at some of these, what would you call them? Statistics, I guess, or survey results. Look at how many people are using TypeScript. 67% of respondents stated they write more TypeScript than JavaScript code, while the single largest group consisted of people who only write TypeScript. This is from my perspective, from my worldview, the fact that the single biggest group only writes TypeScript is such a huge red flag, because it means there's a huge group of people who need training wheels to write the little bit skill to write JavaScript without the little typies, with the little typies. Yeah, I know you disagree, Sherris. I just don't care. You're wrong. The compiled code balance. It should come as no surprise. This is fucking insane. It should come as no surprise that in 2024, almost all our JavaScript code goes through a build step. While bundlers and build tools certainly add complexity to our development process, they're most likely here to stay. 54% of respondents out of 5,927 said that they use 100% compiled code. for JavaScript. What? AI code generation. Not that high. Not that high. So not really, not really anything. Usage professionally. Okay, sure. The use case. So it's no surprise front-end development is like 98% said they use it for front-end development. That's fine. Where do you use it for? Cool. Application pattern, single page apps. Yeah. Cool. JavaScript pain points. Code architecture being one of the biggest pain points. Right? Code architecture is always a concern once a code base gets past a certain size. So, of course, right? That's and this makes particular sense when you're in JavaScript land, because JavaScript land is heavily compiled these days, and a large part of that compilation is pulling in 1,000 different libraries or frameworks, and so it can get out of hand. And then you build abstractions on top of that, and it can get out of hand. And that so it's not like code architecture is not an issue in any other language. It's an issue in almost every language. I'm just saying that in JavaScript, it has a particularly unique place in terms of why it's an issue. State management, managing dependencies, build tools, performance, debugging. Yeah. So one thing that I notice here is that like the top 5 problems are actually they're not low in terms of their percentage. They're actually quite high. A lot of people in this surveyed it as like a problem. So you have code architecture, state management, managing dependencies, which kind of feeds into code architecture, build tools, which kind of feeds into code architecture and managing dependencies, and then performance and debugging. And the numbers are not low. It's not like only 2%. It's like, no, a lot of people actually care. It bothers them. That's a pain point. So on the one hand, this is like I did pre-read this, right? So I'm going through it in a particular way. On the one hand, you have people who, here, let me duplicate, and let's go libraries, right? And then we'll go library sentiment. So on the one hand, you're going to have something like this where it's like, holy crap, React has a huge positive sentiment. Vite has a huge positive sentiment. Hey, that's great. Aren't JS libraries getting better? Then you start reading stats, well, not stats, but survey results like this, and the people who would respond with a high positive sentiment on these libraries are also responding a high negative pain point sentiment on the things that the libraries enforce you to do. So it's like, I like using the library, but I don't like the pain point that comes along with using it. No wonder people have imposter syndrome, because they actually cannot square these two things. I enjoy using the thing that gives me pain to use. And that's about as deep as they think about it. And then if we keep going, sure, new proposals, missing features. Everybody loves their typing because, oh, we need our guardrails because we don't know how to properly code. Blah, we need things to make sure we don't use improper typing. Blah 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 blah. Type. And then we run into this. Now, from 2020 to 2024, what's going on with a state of happiness that it hasn't changed? Is this Is this bad data? Because I don't understand this. I thought JavaScript libraries and frameworks and whatnot were meant to like make things better. You would think that the happiness data here would be very different. Now, what tells me that maybe this is bad data is because it's exactly the same number every single year. 2.8, 2.8, 2.8, 2.8. So maybe it's bad data. So you know what I did? I'm like, okay. What's this button up here? What's this one? What's this? I'm like, huh. Well, if it is, let's assume it's bad data. Let's assume it's bad data. Maybe the comments for this survey will give us some indication of how happy developers themselves are with web technologies. Not even happy about the state of JavaScript. Just FYI. I'm just going to silently let you read these. I think it speaks for itself. Finally, we have one semi-positive about just general web development, not even the state of JS. Truly, React should not exist. Oh, we're going to go through every one of these. Oh, we're going to sit and read every single one of these. Better than the days of IE tables and floats. We have now gone through all 46 comments. Even if the data is wrong on the state of happiness, the comments themselves say everything you need to know. And before I get into why the state of just the tech industry in general, I think you can derive from web technology or the state of web, the state of technology in general. I'll say why in a second. Okay, hang on. Let me move on to the next one. A Restream bot is me. It's because I use Restream and it streams to multiple places, so it pulls in chats from multiple places. Here's JavaScript happiness, which does actually have, it seems like it has some real data. Now, this is what this here gives me an indication that the data here is okay. 2.9 in 2020, 2.8, 2.8, 2.8, 2.8. Okay. This is the biggest source of dread I have with anything related to programming. I wish for React to die. JS is good, fuck TypeScript and its inventors. And it just keeps going and 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 going.